So ever since I was really young, I've always had passion for learning. I wanted to learn everything about anything. I never really saw myself specializing in anything specific. Like I never had like a deep knowledge of one subject. I've always had a little bit of knowledge about everything because I just had so many interests. That's kind of how I got started on my journey to liberal studies and why I chose it as my major. When I first entered university, I had it pretty firmly set in my mind that I wanted to be an international studies major. I had traveled when I was in high school to Japan, and I really found out that I have a love of exploring new cultures, exploring new countries, learning about people, and I really just enjoyed studying things that were different to me. I thought international studies was going to be my jam. After taking a couple semesters of classes, I realized pretty quickly that it was not for me. I know a lot of people have issues when they get to university because a lot of the gen eds that they have to take they're not interested in, they find very boring. I didn't mind the gen ed so much. It was the requirements for the major that really bothered me. We had to pick an area of focus or an emphasis. So I could be international studies, but I could have an area of focus of business, could have an area of focus in politics or languages and culture. I chose languages and cultures. So when I had to take classes like politics and microeconomics, I wasn't very happy. While they are important topics, I do believe politics are very important to learning about another country and another culture. I do not have the brain for that. That's why I chose language. Languages are easy for me. Politics, not so much. And I wasn't planning on going into a political career. I wasn't planning on going into a business career. I wasn't planning on doing any sort of financial things. I wasn't going to be, I wanted to pretty much become like a sociologist or an anthropologist or something about foreign cultures. I struggled with these classes and I had to study so much harder for them than I would have had to study for anything because I just wasn't mentally able to handle those classes. And because I studied so much for them, my classes that I did enjoy, like my history, sociology, Japanese classes, they all struggled as well. And I soon began to hate them because they were a chore for me instead of fun. And there was absolutely no wiggle room. I couldn't say, well, hey, I'm not planning on being A, B, C, and D. Can I just do something else? And they were like, no, you can't. These are required by the university. I don't care how much anxiety they give you. I don't care how many mental breakdowns you had. You gotta do them. Okay, so I'll suffer, that's fine. This is something I was super passionate about, and I would have struggled through something I hated. And I did struggle through a lot of classes that I just could not, I didn't do so well in a lot of my classes because I struggled so much. And another issue I had with the major was because my area of focus was even more narrow, I was also kind of focusing in East Asian studies. I've been to Japan multiple times. As I've mentioned before, I studied there and I went there 3 times more after that. And I had a love for Japan specifically. Finding classes about Japan, they only exist every 4 to 6 years. So I was even having a hard time completing the major in that sense. Like, I was taking classes that were impossible for me to learn. And then I couldn't even get the classes that I actually wanted and or needed. So I became very, very bitter, very, very salty about my education as an international studies major. Towards the end of my career as an international studies major, I went into my advisor's office and I lost it. I started crying. I was so unhappy. I was planning on just quitting school. I would have given up my love of education to not do the major anymore, to not be involved with it. But the stubborn part of me really wanted to continue. I pushed and pushed. Is there any way we can make this work? And she would not budge. She couldn't budge, or she wouldn't, I don't know. So she suggested to me speak with the liberal studies advisor. So I wasn't very excited about talking to the liberal studies advisor for a couple of reasons. A, I had put so much effort into international studies that I felt like it was like quitting. I feel like I don't want to do this anymore, I'm quitting. And that's not in my personality. I don't like quitting. And two, liberal studies really didn't have a good reputation in my head. All throughout my high school education, we were never told about liberal studies, and the things that we were told about liberal education were not necessarily positive. I am an older student, I'm a non-traditional student. This is at a time where people were more judgmental, I suppose. Things that were said about liberal studies majors weren't very good. People who were in liberal studies were people who really didn't have any direction, and it was not a major to be proud of. But after talking to the advisor, I quickly changed my mind. The advisor for it was so passionate about liberal studies. She was so passionate about liberal arts and like having a direction, but having all these branches to be successful, to build and create a better, stronger person, a more well-rounded person, a more socially and culturally aware person. There were so many options that I could take that didn't give me anxiety, that made me excited and passionate about school again. I said, sign me up. I want to do this. And so I made the switch. And having switched to liberal studies, I have never been more excited about learning than I am right now. I'm taking the classes that I want without having to take the ones that really, really give me anxiety, that really give me struggles. Yes, I'm going to struggle in university because it's university. It's hard. But there are things that I'm interested in learning about. I have to take an ethics class. I'm not really into philosophy, but I get to take a gender and race class on ethics, which to me is important because I have a YouTube channel. I want to make sure that I'm including everybody, and I want to make sure that I'm not saying things that are offensive. So I want to study the ethics of gender and race to make sure that I am being a good person when I speak. I'm also taking a photography class. Again, being somebody who's into YouTube, photography is really important. And taking a class on photography, something I've always loved and have learned nothing about other than just dabbling. I'm so excited to take this class. I'm learning so much in my English classes because I get to choose what kind of English I want to learn. I don't have to pick something specific. I don't have to pick specific classes in English. I can pick English classes that benefit me and make me a better person and make me a more well-rounded person. And that is one of the huge reasons why I've become such a huge advocate for liberal studies. Because before, I would never have suggested, no, it's for lazy people. But no, it's not for lazy people. It's for passionate people. It's about people who have varied interests in things and want to kind of dabble, but also have direction. And the people in liberal studies that I have met are very passionate about whatever they're studying. I met a guy who was into mathematics and statistics. I study language, like two totally different spectrums. I study language and arts, and he's like math, statistics, numbers. I'm like, cool. So one of the things that really stands out to me is how versatile liberal studies is. Because you get to dabble in so many different subjects and so many different disciplines, it looks really good to future employers. And that's kind of one of the main points of liberal studies, I think, is that because you get to take all these different courses, all these different disciplines, you become a more well-rounded person. And because you look so well-rounded and you are such a more aware person, hopefully, you just stand out more than if you had just studied specifically that. You never know where life is going to take you. And if you only study one specific thing, you're only going to be able to do that thing. And for me personally, I don't want that. I don't know what the future is going to hold for me. Having the versatility of studying so many different things, I know I could do anything that I wanted to have the tools that I need to be successful in whatever field that I attempt to do. But also because I specialize in East Asia, I feel like I have more credibility, I have more ethos when it comes to talking about things that take place in East Asia, specifically Japan, because I want to do more travel YouTube, as I'm already doing bookish YouTube. My knowledge of Japan, again, gives me that ethos, that credit that I can apply to my adventures, my traveling, my studying, and hopefully show people that I'm a credible source for the things that they're seeing, and that I'm not trying to be biased anyway, that I'm not trying to kind of, I don't know, lie to them about anything or kind of smudge the truth, that they know the information that they're getting from me is factual and that it is culturally aware and that it is not offending anybody in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's really important. The career that I have in mind right now and any possible career I have in the future, whether it's with YouTube or on my own or, you know, whatever. Like I said, I don't know the future, but I really hope it involves traveling and language and culture and people. While liberal studies wasn't my first choice, I am confident in all of the knowledge that I've gained being in this major. I am confident that my future is going to be just fine because I'm a well-rounded individual. I have amazing versatility. I'm able to use all of the different disciplines that I've studied and apply them to my life and show everybody that I can be a good future employee. Also, just for myself, I have this knowledge that I've always wanted, always hungered for. I was able to kind of satiate it by studying all the different things that I was interested in that I wouldn't have been able to study before because I was so blocked into what I could study. Or I'd be forced to study something that I wasn't into at all, like numbers. Not my thing. So I encourage anybody who's either not sure or feeling like they're being kind of smothered by their major to check out liberal studies. I really think that it's worth a shot and you would be amazed at how much one can flourish when they're put in the right situations.